Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 12, Chapter 10, Text 28. Sri Markandeya said, it's indeed most difficult for embodied souls to understand the pastimes of the universal controllers, for such lords bow down to and offer praise to the very living beings they rule. So Markandeya didn't get, bewildered that Shiva, Lord Shiva is, imagine, he is in charge. He's one of the Guna avatars. He's the Lord and controller of this universe. And Shiva, he came and he bowed down to Markandeya and praised him so much. So that's why Markandeya said it's indeed most difficult for embodied souls to understand the pastimes of the universal controllers. For such lords bow down to and offer praise to the very living beings they rule. So, because he is not a conditioned soul, because Markandeya Rishi is liberated, he knew that this is just their mercy. It's not that I've become so great now they think I'm even bigger than them. That didn't go to him. In the material world, people get puffed up like that. If they get praised, then they think they're very great. But in the material world, conditioned souls strive to lord it over one another. Therefore, they cannot understand the pastimes of the actual lords of the universe. Such bona fide lords have a wonderfully magnanimous mentality and thus sometimes bow down to the most qualified and saintly among their own subjects. So this is amazing, right? There's nothing, I mean, it's only the quality. And always they are supreme, they are Vishnu Tattva. I mean, okay, Brahma is not Vishnu Tattva and Shiva is Shiva Tattva, whatever. But they are most exalted. And still, if some Brahmana is a Vaishnava or a Rishi is very, very qualified, especially pure devotee, then they give so much. They don't think, oh, this is my status and I should not do that. They're so wonderfully magnanimous mentality. So that is coming from Krishna. Krishna also likes to serve his devotees and thus bow down to the most qualified and saintly among their own subjects. Dharmam grahayitum praya pravakto. Sorry, that's finished. Generally, it is to induce embodied souls to accept religious principles that the authorized teachers of religion exhibit ideal behavior while encouraging and praising the proper behavior of others. So just to glorify, I mean, now we really took note, Markandeya Rishi, because of being such a wonderful soul, and then everybody will want to follow him. Oh, that is the ideal behavior. So because of that the authorized teachers of religion exhibit ideal behavior while encouraging and praising the proper behavior of others, so that we also will accept religious principles. We know the value of it. If Lord Shiva is bowing down to someone who's following all these religious principles, then we'll take note, wow, this is so exalted following religious principles that it's considered so great. This apparent humility is simply a show of mercy. Such behavior of the Supreme Lord and his personal associates, which the Lord affects by his own bewildering potency, does not spoil his power any more than a magician's powers are diminished by his exhibition of tricks. So it is just Krishna's Leelas, and devotees, pure devotees, know that perfectly. So even when Krishna glorifies his pure devotees, and like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu used to really glorify all his associates, and but none of them, they used to just feel so ashamed, and they didn't want to hear it even. They didn't want to, because they didn't want this. It's out of pride that we want glorification. And not only that, if somehow we get glorification, then we become very puffed up about it and start to think, yeah, I am like that. And that is the greatest danger. But a pure devotee knows what, I mean, what is position of Krishna and what's my position. I only am a servant. So he really enjoys that mood, and he never wants to be put in any other this thing. Um, he doesn't. It's only pride which makes us crave for that. So Markandeya Rishi is so exalted that imagine Lord Shiva and Bhavani coming and paying respects to him. Even maybe Indradev sometimes gets puffed up. So he probably, he will never, Lord Shiva will never bow down to Indra and all that. He'll bow down to someone who is worthy of that. Markandeya Rishi did not get puffed up. So that's why he got. The more we become humble, then we are worthy of all respect. But if we expect respect, then that means we have that weakness and it will make us fall down. So we won't get it. And it's compared to does not spoil his power any more than a magician's powers are diminished by his exhibition of tricks. So it is only Krishna exhibiting some leelas. It doesn't diminish his authority or power or position in any way. I offer my obeisances to that Supreme Personality of Godhead who has created this entire universe simply by his desire and then entered into it as the super soul. By making the modes of nature act, he seems to be the direct creator of this world, just as a dreamer seems to be acting within his dream. He is the owner and ultimate controller of the three modes of nature, yet he remains alone and pure without any equal. He is the supreme spiritual master of all, the original personal form of the absolute truth. The Supreme Lord releases his material potencies, and by their interaction, creation takes place. The Lord remains aloof as the supreme transcendental entity. Still, because the entire creation unfolds according to his design and will, his controlling hand is perceived within all things. People thus imagine that God is the direct builder of this world, although he remains aloof, creating through the manipulation of his multifarious potencies. So he just desires, and then all his potencies act upon this. And he is aloof. And this is the greatest thing of Krishna, that he is not getting any enjoyment out of this material creation. See how renounced he is. It is for us. He is doing all this. Okay, it's a dream-like thing in the sense that it is temporary, external energy, and it's all like a dream because it is not real. It is simply one make-believe thing, temporary things which keep happening, and we get so involved with it. We think this is the reality, and then it's finished. So, but anyway, it's for our enjoyment that he has created all these external things, the whole material universe. And he is not one bit interested in that. It doesn't give him any joy at all because his senses are made out of spiritual senses. So, how he will enjoy material senses? It is simply a creation. But imagine after creating such a big world, so complicated, just a replica, perverted reflection of the spiritual world, he is not at all enjoying it. Everything is for us. And he is only watching over us and waiting to see, are you fed up with it? Are you ready to come back? And then he pulls us out of that. How great it is. We think, okay, God is controlling everything. But for whom? He is not getting any pleasure out of this. So everything is resting on his energy. And everything is unfolding according to his design and will. But it's not for his sense enjoyment. That's why we should be very, very grateful for all the arrangements he has made, because he didn't make it for himself at all. He is making it only for us, and he is just staying aloof. Is not at all one bit of pleasure also he is getting out of it. When we offer something to him, material, like prasadam, bhoga, for example, he only tastes the devotion. He is not tasting that material food. He doesn't even need it. And how he will have, He can, because it's his energy only. But it's not his for his pleasure. What it is only the devotion that we are giving him. That is all is his interest. He's only interested in us as souls who are part and parcel of him. We are very dear to him, and he's come here just watching over us and providing everything for our own because we desired it, but he is unattached. So that is why we say that one of his opulence is renunciation. So renounced, he creates this whole material world, not a bit of it is for himself, and no activity even over here. He's just lying down, so patient, lying down and watching us doing all our things. Or as Paramatma is just witnessing. How renounced can we be like that? So renounced, we create something, okay, even for our children, we did something, then, but we, I mean, to be so renounced that you allow the children to do whatever they want and finally you take them back whenever they are ready. That's the height of renunciation. Kam vrinenu param. Okay. Oh, all till what verse you've done, Prabhu?
Mataji 38.
Oh,
Sorry, 34. 34. Till 34.
34. Okay.
Yes, Mataji.
O all pervading Lord, since I've received the benediction of seeing you, what other benediction can I ask for? Simply by seeing you, a person fulfills all his desires and can achieve anything imaginable. So just seeing him is the only thing we should aspire for. And first we are hearing him. By chanting, we are hearing Krishna. And we keep on hearing him with full attention. Then one day he will reveal himself and we can actually see him. And once we have seen him, that's it, the perfection. There is nothing left achievable. Whatever we desire, that's it. You are, because Krishna will not reveal himself unless we are ready with deep devotion and love and complete faith and surrender and in the perfect attitudes. Then whatever we desire will be very wonderful for us, for him, for Krishna also. It will be wonderful to fulfill because it will be something in the spiritual energy, something which will satisfy him. Because the devotee only wants to play. Huh? Raw. And the devotee also simply wants to do what will satisfy Krishna. And Krishna also reciprocates because he doesn't have to fulfill our desire. He can say, I will only decide. Then, but he allows us to desire, I want to serve you like this. Okay, serve. Whatever the pure devotee. And not only that, if a pure devotee blesses another person, okay, you do like this, then Krishna will come, like Narada Muni. Happily, he only decided. He said that to Nalakuvara and Manigriva, okay, you go there and you be born as Arjuna trees. And afterwards, when Krishna comes, then he will deliver you. This is all his own thing. He never consulted Krishna. Of course, a devotee is always surrendered. Whatever he says also is pleased, is approved by Krishna. It's only the mind, the material mind, which makes us think separately from Krishna. But in our original state, we are surrendered. But still, if a devotee says something, and even if it's very, very difficult, Krishna fulfills that. He will not change it because the devotee has given that blessing. Like so, that is how. A devotee, he simply by seeing you, a person fulfills all his desires and can achieve anything imaginable. But so he's already seen the Lord. But he's telling this to Shiva. Yes. Okay. But I do request one benediction from you who are full of all, okay, who's full of all perfection and able to shower down the fulfillment of all desires. I ask to have unfailing devotion for the Supreme Personality of Godhead and for his dedicated devotees, especially you. So this shows us how we must relate with Lord Shiva and the other devatas. He's saying that I don't want anything. I've just seen you. That's more than enough. But I want uh, the to shower. I ask you to have unfailing devotion for the Supreme Personality of Godhead and for his dedicated devotees, especially you. So we should ask like this to Lord Shiva. The words Tat Pareshu Tata Tvayi clearly indicate that Lord Shiva is a devotee of the Supreme Lord, not the Supreme Lord himself. Because the representative of God is offered the same protocol to God himself, Markandeya Rishi addressed Lord Shiva as Lord in the previous verses. But now it's clearly revealed that, as stated throughout Vedic literature, Lord Shiva is an eternal servant of God and not God himself. Desire manifests itself within the mind and heart according to the subtle laws governing consciousness. Pure desire to engage in the loving service of the Lord brings one to the most exalted platform of consciousness, and such a perfect understanding of life is available only by the special mercy of the Lord's devotees. To understand this subtle truth, this is perfection when in our mind we are always thinking about serving the Lord, then whatever we think of will be perfect and will come true also in a pure devotee. If when we think of material things, material desires, that's in the faulty understanding that I am this body and sense gratification is the mode of is the method to become happy. So that also Krishna gives, or Lord Shiva also. But because Markandeya Rishi is very perfect, he asks for the most intelligent thing. Desire manifests itself within the mind and heart according to the subtle laws governing consciousness. According to our consciousness, only we'll ask for benedictions. If we are still in materially attached consciousness, when we see Lord Shiva, we'll ask only for material things. Then also, okay, make me also devotee, maybe. But then, pure desire to engage in the loving service of the Lord brings one to the most exalted platform of consciousness. And such a perfect understanding of life is available only by the special mercy of the Lord's devotees. So we should aspire for that. Otherwise, again and again, I ask some benediction, but sometimes it seems very nice. Then it's all over. Again, I have to ask, or I get so much of, in the material world, even if you're successful, it's not a very nice place because there'll be so many people jealous and then who will want to take it away from you, or they will want to kill you because they feel very they don't like it that you're enjoying. So all these problems are there. Material world is not a place for enjoyment. So why should we ask all that? We should ask only for pure devotional service for ourselves and all our family members or whoever is dear to you. Ask only for that. That will take care. That's the best benediction. And everything else which manifests out of pure devotion will be perfect. So that is a clever way of asking. You're very concerned about material, well-being of your family. If you ask for devotional service to the Lord, bhakti, then automatically material also will be fine. So you don't have to ask. But if you ask only for material benediction, there is no hope that, there is no guarantee that they will also become pure devotees. So we are asking two things. By asking only one, you get two things out of it, everything. Suta uvacha iti archito abhistutascha munina suktaya gira tam aha bhagavan Sarvaya Chabinandita. Suta Goswami said, thus worshipped and glorified by the eloquent statements of the sage Markandeya, Lord Shiva, encouraged by his consort, replied to him as follows. So Parvati is also very much part of his all this. Imagine Shiva and Parvati always together, Ardhanarishwara. When he entered the heart of Markandeya, Parvati also went. And now, even to glorify, Lord Shiva is going to reply to Markandeya, encouraged by Bhavani. So she is also in this. In fact, she only uh, also inspired him that, see, such a nice devotee and all that. Because of her only Shiva came. So the goddess is considered very, very important in our tradition her, because of her um, reference that Lord gives. Most of the time, it's like that. Mother, you go to, Radharani, you go to uh, the, okay, if Shiva and Parvati come, then if Parvati recommends, if she is very happy, then Shiva will automatically bless us. So, कामो महर्षि सर्वो यम भक्तिमां स्वम अदोक्षजे कल्पांता यश पुण्यम अजरामरथा तथा. O great sage, because you're devoted to Lord Adokshaja, all your desires will be fulfilled until the very end of this creation cycle. You will enjoy pious fame and freedom from old age and death. So that is because of his devotion to Lord Adokshaja, all your desires will be fulfilled. Until the very end of this creation cycle, you will enjoy pious fame and freedom from old age and death. So that's how a devotee becomes free from old age and death, just by being a pure devotee, being attached to Krishna. So devotion gets everything. He's saying because you are devoted to Lord Adokshaja, all your desires will be fulfilled. This is the secret. But people will give all kinds of other, yesterday when somebody was telling me, oh, there is one saying in Bengali that Krishna, because he's a person very deceptive and all that, so you take shelter of him, he will do all sorts of things, he'll take away this and take away that. People have all kinds of fears about Krishna. But actually, what Krishna does for beginning, he doesn't do that. Beginning devotees, he doesn't take away this and take away that. It's only if a person is quite advanced in Krishna consciousness, and if something is acting as a what do you call acting as a
Obstacle, Mataji, obstacle in bhakti.
obstacle. Yes, if it's an obstacle, then at that time only Krishna takes away, not otherwise. And that too, that a devotee will not be upset by that. Like for Prabhupada, not that it was obstacle, family life, but he was considering, oh, I have my responsibility for the family and all that. So Krishna did the thing that the wife didn't cooperate. So, and also the money, he lost so much money, even though astrologically he was not supposed to lose. He was supposed to become a very big businessman. But then Prabhupada said, I lost my interest. As he came to devotional service, he was more interested in preaching. That also happened. And so Krishna took away everything. That is one extreme case. You cannot say that for everybody he's doing that. Sometimes a devotee may be suffering and for a long time Krishna doesn't do anything. But it may be that he is purifying the devotee so that, once and for all, that is great mercy. Otherwise, you just give something when they are not fully pure, then they will, again, karma happens and then you don't get fully purified. It's delayed. So it may be whatever Krishna does is a great mercy. And so we should not ever think I mean, when you go to Krishna, only good things will happen. Maybe our desiring has to become purified. Otherwise, we'll desire all unnecessary things which will just keep us in material bondage and further suffering. So we have to have that complete faith. Um, but when we become like Markandeya, we understand what is our real benefit. When we are fully convinced, then of course all benedictions will come, because we'll no longer be affected by it. We'll no longer be, contaminated by it. So that is why Prabhupada said, first clean your heart. Everything else will be nice for you. That is the only thing. First clean your heart. Keep chanting, Ketu Darpana Marjanam, then all the problems of your life will be solved. So that is the first thing we should work on. Then what did he reply? O great sage. Yeah. So Lord Shiva said, O great sage, because you're devoted to Lord Adoktaja, all your desires will be fulfilled. Until the very end of this creation cycle, you will enjoy pious fame and freedom from old age and death. Jnanam traikalikam brahman vijnanam cha viraktimat brahmavaccha vino bhuyat Puranacharyatasute. O Brahmana, may you have perfect knowledge of past, present, and future, along with transcendental realization of the Supreme, enriched by renunciation. You have the brilliance of an ideal Brahmana, and thus may you achieve the post of spiritual master of the Puranas. So Markandeya Rishi, he is still there because he's got the benediction that till the end of creation, he's going to be here. Where is he? Anyone knows where Markandeya Rishi is? I don't know where he is living. Maybe in the higher planetary system. Markandeya, where was he when Shiva came? No, he was in his ashram, right? In the Himalayas, some river is mentioned. In the Himalayas, maybe Markandeya Rishi is still there. And he is the Suta Uvacha Evam Varansa Munaye Tattva Ghatri Aksha Ishvara Devyai Tatkarma Katayan Anubhutam Puramuna. Suta Goswami said, having thus granted Markandeya Rishi benedictions, Lord Shiva went on his way, continuing to describe to Goddess Devi the accomplishments of the sage and the direct exhibition of the Lord's illusory power that he had experienced. I mean, ordinary people cannot see all that. Markandeya Rishi is very famous, first of all, because he saw that. Who else? Everybody else was washed away in the water. Markandeya Rishi underwent that experience. And that is a special mercy because the Lord showed his external energy, illusory power. And that was an illusion because it was all there. And then he saw the Lord. He saw him suddenly in that situation. And then he entered the Lord, right? He suddenly this thing, and then he was sent out, and suddenly everything is finished. That is how it is. It's illusion. Markandeya Rishi, the best of the descendants of the Bhrigu, is glorious because of his achievement of perfection in mystic. Even today, he travels about this world, fully absorbed in unalloyed devotion for the Supreme Personality of Godhead. I have thus narrated to you the activities of the highly intelligent sage Markandeya, especially how he experienced the amazing power of the Supreme Lord's illusory energy. Although this event was unique and unprecedented, some unintelligent persons compare it to the cycle of illusory material existence the Supreme Lord has created for the conditioned souls, an endless cycle that has been continuing since time immemorial. Markandeya's being drawn into the Lord's body by his inhalation and expelled again by his exhalation should not be considered a symbolic description of the perennial cycles of material creation and annihilation. This portion of the Srimad Bhagavatam describes a real historical event experienced by a great devotee of the Lord, and those trying to relegate the story to mere symbolic allegory are here declared to be unintelligent fools. So it was not the regular cycle of creation and annihilation. Just for him, Krishna created his illusory potency, where he actually thought he was going through all that and he thought it was reality. And then he was sucked into the Lord's body, and when he exhaled again, he came out. All these things are simply the illusion. Only for him, he created it. So we should not think that, compare it to the cycle of illusory material existence the Supreme Lord has created for the conditioned souls. It is not that. This event was unique and unprecedented. It is only for Markandeya Rishi that Krishna created. That is why it's so glorious. He's such an exalted devotee that Krishna showed him a sample of his illusory potency. If it was just the annihilation, which anyway happens, that he could have told Markandeya Rishi, okay, you wait for a long time, then during annihilation you can see. It was not that. The whole thing was simply one creation for him. That's why it is so wonderful and amazing. Ya evam etad bhrigu varya varnitam, last verse and then of this chapter. Ratanga panir anubhava bhavitam samshravayet samshrunuyad uthav ubhav tayorna karmashaya samshritir bhavet. O best of the Bhrigus, this Ansashi conveys the transcendental potency of the Supreme Lord. Anyone who properly narrates or hears it, material existence, which is based on the desire to perform fruitive activities. So, this hearing itself is such a valuable thing that we will not take birth again, will never again undergo material existence, which is based on the desire to perform fruitive activities. Not just another birth, but we will do everything for pleasure of Krishna and not to perform fruitive activities. That is material existence. And the minute we start doing everything for Krishna's pleasure, then that is spiritual existence. So just by hearing this, hopefully we are blessed to stop performing fruitive activities, that all our actions are only devotional. Thus ends the purports of the humble servants of His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, to the 12th canto, 10th chapter of Bhagavatam, entitled Lord Shiva and Uma Glorify Markandeya Rishi. So the next chapter will be, chapter 11 is summary description of the Mahapurusha. Um, okay. This is something very extraordinary. Okay. Something different. So this 12th canto, normally it's not because it's normally people are still in some of the other chapter, other cantos. So it's amazing, isn't it? Markandeya Rishi, take his mercy. He is still here in the material world, so let us pray to him for his blessings and for us to also get the shelter of the Supreme Lord and pure devotional service to Krishna. Markandeya Rishi ki jai. Okay, any questions or comments?
Mataji, this what is a very like empowering here is for me is like Lord Shiva. He also talks about the qualities of brahmanas, which Krishna says so many times in Bhagavad Gita and Uddhava Gita, that qualified brahmanas are saintly, always peaceful, free of material attachment. They have a lot of compassion, pure devotee of Lord, and devoid of hatred and endowed with equal vision. Pandito Samdarshina. What I think, all the like acharyas and then all Krishna's expansion, they talk the same thing over and over. So just to remind myself, like this is how one should behave and operate. So I think this is very empowering actually, because this comes in Gita so many times. Uddhava Gita also Krishna says so many times, and then Lord Shiva is also repeating the same thing.
Yeah, with an example, then it's always much more. We can register it. Just the qualities alone, but here is a person who's actually like that, and then Shiva is giving an example. Then naturally, it's more inspiring. The Brahminical qualities he had is peaceful. So that's that's why we've got. Imagine, Prabhupada said the purpose of ISKCON is to create Brahmanas. Brahmanas means not Kali Yuga type Brahmanas. There are so many Brahmanas who simply do rituals. They'll have other lot of material desires, and the mind will be somewhere else. Not that. Not kind of Brahmanas. Brahmanas like this, pure devotees who want to only serve Krishna and satisfy him. That kind of Brahmanas Prabhupada wants to create in ISKCON. Prabhupada had very great visions for us. That's the mark of a great leader. A leader is always thinking that everybody can do it. Come, you can do it, do it. And he's Prabhupada, what all he says? First of all, he says everyone should become a Brahmana. Then he says every Grihastha should become a Paramahamsa. How much he has in Kali Yuga, that too. So, because he sets such high standards, then okay, at least we try to reach the moon. We are jumping, but by his mercy, something we can make some progress. So yes, we must develop Brahminical qualities of samodamas, tapas, shaucham, titikshavam, arjavam, karunikam, all these. And how much we are progressing by chanting. Of course we will develop that, but we can also in our minds we can say, no, I have to be like this. Then only we can take Brahminical initiation, which will make us go further. Modes of passion and ignorance should be avoided. Basically the mind should be very peaceful, and truth is very satyam also, as one of the Brahminical. Brahmana should never tell lies. Brahmana should be very clean and pure, and he must be detached from materialistic ambitions, and he must only think of spiritual progress. And imagine, Prabhupada said, in this age, he is making everybody to become a real Brahmana like that. And then we can really bring about, some change. So we are all getting purified for that. We have to become a real Brahmana. We have to do Brahminical activity. One is, of course, deity worship or taking. Hardly anybody wants to do. You see in ISKCON, who's ready to become a Brahmana that is ritualistic Brahmanas, first stage. Then nobody wants to be like that. There is a good money in that. I mean, the people you keep doing all these yajnas, homas, and all that. You can make money, but no one wants that. So we hardly have any Brahmanas like that. Other Brahminical activity is preaching. If we preach, we get, first of all, our sadhana should be very good. Getting up early only will promote us to mode of goodness. And the other thing is preaching. Because uh, you're trying to do good to others and you're not taking any money in return for preaching. So it elevates us. I mean, we keep doing preaching, then we can develop more and more Brahminical qualities. It is, I mean, to be a perfect Brahmana like Markandeya and all will take a lot of ages. But a proportion of goodness can keep on increasing. He didn't have any passion or tamoguna at all. But for us, the proportion should keep increasing. Okay, more goodness, less passion, less tamoguna. Keep on increasing goodness more. But all the activities we are doing are all in goodness. Chanting and preaching and serving the deities, all sattva-guna. But we should not want something in return. That is the passionate thing. Not doing a fruitive mentality. I'm doing all this to you, Krishna, please solve all my problems. That mentality has to gradually go away. That is the cause of passion. Free from fruitive activities, right? Even devotional service can become a karma kanda, fruitive activity. If you want something in return, I have to do this so that Krishna will do this for me. Okay, we may have this thing, but we should not justify. It may come, but we should recognize, no, this is mode of passion. Mode of goodness, I'll simply do the service for Krishna's satisfaction. Rest he can decide whatever he wants. That is, then that way we can increase our sattva guna and become peaceful. It's only happens through everything, through chanting and doing our sadhana properly, getting up early in the morning and trying not to avoid as much as possible. The mind should not become agitated by different news, and you have to avoid and try to keep the mind very peaceful and always thinking of positive and service. Yeah.
Thank you, Mataji. Please bless me.
Here we go for prayers now for His Holiness Jevtak Swami, for his complete recovery and good health. He's in the hospital now. So we really hope some miracle happens and he recovers very nicely. And it is our prayers. We are thinking that only the doctors and all the servants with him, it's their responsibility to taking care of Krishna. But we have we have also this capacity to chant and pray for him, and that is having also a great effect. In fact, that's more important. So we should also hold ourselves responsible. Guru Maharaj's health is also my responsibility and concern. So let us very sincerely chant for him so that he should recover. Every time, whenever devotees have chanted together, then his health reciprocates. And whatever the doctors may do, whatever they may do, but the thing is that it is prayers which have always helped him to come out of the difficult situation. So let us chant. It is there. We can all desire to Krishna very much. We can pray that please make our Gurudev fully okay. No more of this, this illness and all that. Let him become fully normal and be available everywhere so that we can all benefit from his presence on this planet. We want, just his coming only is like a sunshine which can remove all the darkness. So let us pray very sincerely for Guru Maharaj and chant for him. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Ram Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare Hare,
Hare
Hare Rama,
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Rama, Ram
Rama, Rama
Rama, Hare
Rama,
Hare,
Hare
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 Krishna,
Krishna, Hare
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare
Hare Hare,
Hare
Hare
Rama,
Rama, Hare Rama, Ram Rama, Hare Hare.
Rama Rama.
Mataji, Hare Krishna, Mataji. Please
Hare
answer.
Krishna. Yeah,
Mataji,
please.
actually, every day evening 7 o'clock, we are doing japa, Mataji. But no, we are chanting 108 names of that Dhanvantari mantra. Is it okay, or shall we stop and start doing the japa Hare Krishna Mahamantra?
Yeah, you can chant Hare Krishna mantra. Who gave you the Dhanvantari mantra? Some Ayurvedic doctor gave, na?
No, some Brahmin, no, Mataji, some temple, some priest. I think that time they requested to chant from March, from Feb to March or something, no, Mataji. So that time we started actually. Same thing we are continuing. Shall we stop that and start doing Hare Krishna Mahamantra?
Yeah, you can. It doesn't matter because, I asked Bhanu Maharaj for prayers, is it more important to chant Hare Krishna mantra or Narsimha Dev, Narsimha Kavacha and all those,
Darshan
which
Kavacha
is
and
more?
108 names also we are chanting, Mataji. And one round of this Om Namo Bhagavate Dhanvantraya, that one.
They're still wanting us to chant the Dhanvantari mantra? No, not now. No, you
Okay.
can go back to Hare Krishna mantra.
Okay, Mataji. Okay. Thank you, Mataji.
Somehow, all prayers, he said it doesn't make a difference. He said you can do either, he said.
Okay.
Because sometimes, you feel guilty. Oh, I'm only chanting Hare Krishna. Am I supposed to chant to Narasimha? And then when you're chanting Narasimha, then you feel, oh, I'm not chanting Hare Krishna. So which is, because we want it to be the most effective for Krishna, for Guru Maharaj. So he said either is okay. So whichever you feel, you really feel like chanting, whatever you feel like chanting, you chant. I mean, among this. But since they have not asked, that was only in that specific period. Now you can go back to chanting Hare Krishna. That also, Guru Maharaj responds very well, and devotees chant for him. No, Hare Krishna.
Because some devotees are doing in the morning 11 o'clock and some are gathering at 7 o'clock. So then we'll stop the Dhanvantari mantra, Mataji.
Instead, you can do Hare Krishna mantra. How long you're chanting? Every day?
7 to 7:40 it is taking, Mataji. Dhanvantari mantra, I think almost 20 minutes. Then Narsimha Kavacham, then 108 names of Lord Narsimha.
Oh, very nice. And morning, some Matajis are doing, huh?
Morning, I think Mathura Mandal, they are having their own link and they are doing, Mataji.
Oh, very nice.
Thank you.
Okay, then we pray for all Prabhupada disciples for their